everybody on Facebook.
Coming to you live on the Government Access Channel from Mario Bagnoni Chambers in beautiful downtown Erie. It's the Taxpayers Hotline Show with your hosts, Kaz Kwiatkowski and John Steiner.
Good afternoon, everybody, on a, I don't know if you want to say it's a fine Monday. Welcome to the Taxpayers Hotline on the Government Channel. If you want to call in, those on Facebook too, 870-1284. We're trying to look a couple different formats this morning or this afternoon. We've got a lot of different things to talk about. I'm sure you guys want to talk about some things too. Today I brought Carl Anderson from Erie County Council in, and Kaz is going to be joining us soon. Matter of fact, he might be making his way over here now. But Carl, how are you today?
Excellent, John. How are you this morning?
You know, pretty good.
Beautiful day today.
You know, it is a beautiful day today, and you know, every time we seem to get together here, the world is changing minute to minute.
Rapidly.
Yeah, it's getting kind of to the point where we're on unprecedented waters as far as what we do, what to do, what not to do. You know, nationally, we got issues. Locally, we have issues. But one of the reasons I called you up to have you come on today was talk about some of the things that we're doing here locally, that we have done, that we've done in the last 48 hours, and some of the things that you plan on doing in the future. So, you know, I'll just turn the show over to you. And if anybody in here watching wants to call and ask us a question, feel free. Again, the number 870-1284. So, Carl, how are you, sir?
Excellent. You know, you never know how fortunate you are with the services that we have until you need them. And you know, Erie County is one of only 10 of the 67 counties in Pennsylvania that have a separate health department. And if we don't know or understand what that means on a daily basis, we're going to find out in this situation. And I can tell everybody that we're very fortunate that we set up and remained committed to having a separate health department here locally, where we can have access and control, and we can get information out and disseminate information to the citizens as quickly as possible.
Well, you know, with the as quick as this situation, this pandemic has come down on us, you know, it's kind of hard for us to be prepared with safeguards and other things like that. And you know, just, you know, as they were shutting everything down, we got stuff going on at the convention center. You know, what are your thoughts on that? And you know, what precautions do we need to start taking, and are we going to start taking that you know about?
Well, I think we've already started many of those precautions, and I think the new term out there in the last week or so is social distancing, in an effort to you know, slow down, if not stop or eradicate the spread of the virus. You know, we want to make sure that we have social distancing, and you know, and ensure that you know, this virus, more than any other virus, has at least a 6 foot you know, incubation or you know, area in which you can be infected, and on some surfaces it can last up to 48 hours. So you know, sanitation, disinfecting, social distancing, those are important things that we do.
You know, you see, hey Kaz, we're talking about virus stuff.
Yeah, we're there's going to be some tough decisions made around City Hall.
You guys had a meeting today?
We did, yes. We had the county health there. They're discussing everything from you know, what meetings we're going to have, access to City Hall. we're gonna be instituting at the treasurer's office, very shortly for these, oh, go ahead, I can.
Okay. Yeah, hold that thought. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Hello, I have a question about social distancing.
Sure.
If we social distance ahead of time, how will that have any impact on the coronavirus?
Well, in my opinion, everybody has to do it. It has to be across the board as far as social distancing goes.
Is it so that we can practice so that when the virus gets here, we'll know what we're doing?
The virus is here.
Yeah, well, one of the big issues is, we don't know whether the virus is here or not, although, we believe that, it is or soon will be. But the test kits have not been available. The incubation period is 14 days. And as I said earlier, can spread from one human to another within 6 feet of each other. And so there's just so many unanswered potential questions with the coronavirus that social distancing it's not just something that we're practicing for the future, potential virus, but for if the virus is potentially here now.
Carl, let me ask you a question. I mean, I know some of this.
Thank you.
Yep.
No,
thank
thanks
you.
for calling.
Bye.
Sometimes, you may not have the answer to this because this is all just breaking real quick, but how many test kits does Erie County actually have for something like this? Do we have any?
We have 0.
That's not a good,
The
that's
health
not a good
department
number.
told us there's none in Harrisburg.
Yeah, there's
0
none
in Harrisburg?
Well, there's hardly any in the country.
The ones
That's
they're
the issue.
using are what, they're, put a swab up your nose. But
Yeah, the issue that the test kit was developed in Germany, but the CDC chose that they felt that was not good enough. They wanted to create their own test kit, and although moving forward, it's probably going to be a better indicator. It's put us behind a couple weeks in getting out, and I'm talking about us, the whole country. It's put us behind in getting out in front of this.
Yeah.
I believe in the paper today, or maybe it was yesterday, UPMC has actually developed their own test kit, and there's been other companies in Ohio and other large medical providers that have created their own test kit, and so we're beginning the process of going to have those available. But that's been the issue and concern is that there has been no test kits available.
And as far as Erie County goes, when there are tests available, you'd think they would go to the bigger cities first, like New York City and all the larger metropolitan areas, because that's where, someplace like New York City, they get 2 million visitors a day
well,
in and out of there.
the trouble is you got a hold right now because the fire chief was saying he can't even get masks for his men.
Yeah.
Because the main impetus is going towards hospitals and the military right now.
So what they were saying, what the problem is, it's some of it, it's like the flu, but it's more potent as far as actually aggressiveness and causing loss of life. I mean, I think I saw the flu. If you have the flu's 0.1% people actually die from the flu. Now, when you spread that across the 40 million people population.
Well, what they don't know about this one, John, is they don't know if it'll go away in summer.
Right.
Yeah. And this one here, it's the mortality rate is like 1% higher, which over 360 million or however many more people, it's 10 times as likely to be fatal.
Despite all the warnings, just had somebody right over there come in and, they had all the signs. What are you doing out?
Yeah.
What are you doing out? You've been warned.
I mean, it's gotten to a point where we don't want to have mass hysteria, but still, people are
What's not, you know what, John?
on edge.
John, when I was a young man, it wasn't unusual for when you went to a doctor and they used to come to your house.
Yeah,
And if you exhibited signs of, in those days, you gotta remember, they just finished eradicating chickenpox and measles.
yeah,
Developed vaccines. We had the Asian flu. We had, polio was still around. And, excuse me, got a little, the problem is, they used to quarantine you.
Yeah.
And the doctor would notify Dr. Schubert in those days, come on, they put a little placard on your house, and you didn't go back until you were cleared. But today, with the way, mothers are working and fathers are working, they send their kids to school. We forgot all those old habits about wiping our nose,
yeah.
covering our cough. And,
Right. Let's play the devil's advocate here and say Erie itself has a breakout. Okay, I mean, what precautionary measures would the county take, and the city too, for that matter?
all you can do, there's no vaccine, so you're gonna run out, hopefully you don't run out of space.
Well, that's the problem.
But if you do, you're gonna have to do what they did in China.
What do they do there?
You have to either build facilities in 2 weeks,
Yeah,
which they did, probably basically, what do you call pole barns?
yeah,
Or you gotta put up, military style tents
yeah.
or facilities,
Well,
I was at a meeting, we were getting an update from the, health department, on, one of the questions that was asked was, so how do we think this is gonna affect us in the fall? Everyone kind of looked at each other thinking, what? They said, well, every time you have the flu in the spring, usually comes back with a vengeance in the fall. And the answer to the question is we don't know, because this may not dissipate in the summer. It may continue to increase. It may get worse in the fall.
the unknowns are scary. I'll touch on that.
That's the concern, the unknowns.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, who is this? Steiner?
Yeah, how are you today?
Not too bad. You there with Kaz?
Yeah, I'm here with Kaz. We have County Councilman Carl Anderson with us today.
Oh, I'm sitting in the garage drinking a little vodka right now. I'm just trying to catch you on YouTube. You guys ain't on YouTube. Why is that?
I don't know, but I know they do stream it live. If you go on the city's website and you hit City Council, and
drinking the holy water, huh?
yeah, he's imbibing today.
The Polish holy water, there we go.
And then if you go on via web stream, you can download it.
Oh, yeah, I understand. So you're saying that you guys are probably streaming on the city website now?
Well, they've been.
We're supposed to be, yes.
Yeah, that's been going on, as well as YouTube.
Normally you stream on YouTube, but you're not streaming on YouTube right now, because I just checked. All I have is my phone right now, so.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I mean, I'm glad you called, because Mike, our IT guy, the brains of our production engineer, I like that name. He'll figure it out, and he'll get it up and running.
Yeah, they're not on. You guys ain't streaming on YouTube, but I thought you'd be on quarantine right now, you and Kaz.
It's coming.
Kaz is already coughing over here. But see, that's the hysteria.
I didn't cough. I had one little
one little gurgle. See, I mean, that's just it. We have one little. We have a gurgle, and everybody goes.
I'm going to blame it on my
Just on the way in, I heard that they quarantined the state legislature.
Really?
In Harrisburg.
Good.
Yes, they did.
Maybe they can get something done.
I would be surprised if we're on the air next week.
I would be too. I think this is going to be the last show for a while.
I will tell you what steps we're taking in the treasurer's office
Yeah.
when we're,
Right. Well, let's see. What do you have to say about all this stuff, caller?
All I know is I think these people are they're going crazy with this stuff regarding this hoarding. They're hoarding toilet paper. They're hoarding pasta.
Yep. I couldn't find. I went to Tops the other day. Tuna fish is about half of what it normally was. The obvious stuff, the papers and the cleaning supplies, the water, all gone.
Yeah, it's out of control what people are
Well,
doing.
they're gonna have to go back to what they did in World War II, which is implement, what if they found that one guy had, what was it, 17,000 bottles of Purell down south? You know,
17,000. He couldn't sell it. They pulled it off of YouTube or eBay.
yeah, you read that, didn't you? Yeah,
With it now.
he said he's found nothing wrong with doing that. He was helping distribute it.
I mean, that stuff needs to be stopped right at the store. You know what I mean? There needs to be rations. I mean, that's just it, caller. We have no national or local contingency plan on if something like this ever happens. Now, you know, heaven forbid we ever get into a situation where we're in like an actual germ warfare with something.
Well, I mean, that's something like the
I
county
mean,
can do in the future is,
the county-
implement emergency
The city,
health
Well,
programs.
that's gonna happen at 3 o'clock today, but they are rationing at,
I mean,
that?
they have a sign up
at
at top.
Wegmans.
Two,
and,
2 gallons of water.
what's happening at 3 o'clock today?
the county executive is having a press conference to, declare a state of emergency in Erie County.
Oh, see, I mean, breaking news here.
Of emergency.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have a playbook for this.
Hey, in Chicago, they've shut down, and New York, and I just heard today, New York, New Jersey, I think in Delaware, have closed down all sit-down restaurants. You can take food out,
Erie's closed now too.
and same
Today.
thing with drinking establishments.
Well, by the way, guys, the governor's having a press conference right now, 2 o'clock, the governor has a press conference, and,
Uh-oh, who we got there in the peanut gallery?
It's sitting on the table unsecured.
The what is?
Keep an eye on it.
Oh,
The box there for the payment of taxes.
oh, okay.
we won't let them take the box.
Oh, we throw that orange box. We got our eye on that.
Keep your eye on it.
We will.
Oh, you mean the one, mine?
Yours, I said it's less secure. Somebody could
There goes the taxes.
grab that.
We got somebody watching it at all times.
That's the city's revenue.
They're gonna have to take that whole table with it.
Well, it's only for checks, so if they, you know,
Anyway, the governor is closing down all restaurants and bars, et cetera, across Pennsylvania.
Oh, he is.
So it's not.
We were out at lunch today and they were like closing restaurants. As we were sitting there, it's like, what's going on? So, you still there, caller?
Yeah, I'm still here. I just want last week you didn't have too many calls. How about this week? I don't know, because like I said, you guys ain't on YouTube or anything, so.
well, we were off for a couple of weeks because of some problems in my,
Yeah, we had
Different-
issues.
Oh, well, I
Yeah.
got right in today, so. I
Yeah,
don't
that's a
know.
good thing. Maybe, you know,
Well,
we weren't in, we were off for a couple weeks, so some people kind of died off a little bit, but hopefully
okay.
they'll start picking back up.
Good one, then.
Have a good one.
All right, yeah, we'll see you.
Okay. You know, the thing is, I mean, let's say if we did get a situation, you know, and, you know, the problem is that there's not enough beds. There's not enough masks. There's not enough equipment. So if these hospitals get overloaded, it was like in the wartime, Kaz, they're going to decide who gets treatment and who doesn't.
well, you're gonna go into, facilities, maybe not the hospital, you might be in a field tent.
Yeah. Anybody watching on Facebook, it's 870-1284 if you want to call in. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller. Yeah, but- So, you know. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Hi guys, how
Hey.
you doing?
Pretty good, you?
Well, I'm doing all right. Although it's pretty quiet out on the streets.
It's very quiet. It's scary quiet.
It's weird. It's really weird, I tell you. Yeah, I have a question. Actually, I have a couple questions with all of this madness that's going on. And I think I just heard you say that Kathy Belknapper is going to declare a state of emergency in a little while. Is that right?
Yeah, 3 o'clock, yeah.
Correct.
I was just wondering, we've got the hospitals down there, and these people, I mean, I live down there, these people come and go in their scrubs. They get on the bus in their scrubs. I mean, not that I'm actually afraid of the illness side of this, but that just seems like a silly thing.
Well, there's a lot of what you would call silly things that aren't very safe for us normally. let alone when a pandemic is taking place. But at some point, we just have to be more vigilant than what we've been. But we need to prepare for the worst. A lot of people are saying we're overreacting or we're not doing. We need to be proactive in order to try to nip it in the bud before it becomes a disaster like these other countries that are complete shutdown.
Well, yeah, the shutdown would be the disaster, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, so we can't go to restaurants, we can't go to the ball games, that's fine. But these other countries are in serious disarray.
Yeah. That would not be good to go to that point, definitely. No. Then the other question was totally not coronavirus related. Actually, it wasn't so much of a question, it was a funny comment. I was just out driving on Elmwood, and the road was paved not long ago, but it's all shut down due to crews tearing it up. So it's pretty funny.
That's how it works with that. Wherever they pave it, they find something wrong.
I hope they do West 8th Street. It's like crazy.
I haven't seen the list yet.
When they pave it, then a water main breaks. Right?
That's true.
Yeah, right. All right, caller. Thanks for calling.
What needs done is, I think it's called Dorchester, just on the other side of Peach Street from Miller. Holy smokes, is that place bad?
I think they usually drive around town, and if they see they need it, they put it on the list. But they do listen to the show.
Although they do, there is a hotline number. I don't have it. But
Oh, the pothole hotline, yeah. But that's just a pothole. That's not for the street repair.
No, that.
All right, thanks for. You have anything else, caller?
No, just that. Just everybody keep calm. I don't think that this is a panic thing. Certainly not if they're still leaving the hospital with their cootie-covered clothes on.
Sounds good. Thanks for calling.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, once again, we're from the City Hall, City Council chambers, myself, Carl Anderson, and Kaz Kwiatkowski. Give us a call, 870-1284.
So what we're going to do, John, is in a short time here, we're going to reopen what we refer to as the fishbowl. That's that secure area in the front there.
Right there?
Yes, it offers protection for the workers. It's got glass in front of it.
Okay.
We will be taking, as long as City Hall is open, we'll be taking cash only there. Your checks, we'll have a box which you can see in front of the door of the treasurer's office. That'll be for checks. Or you can, there's a box on the side of the building, which we're in the process now of marking with a big banner, that you can drop off your checks and tax bills in there.
Here's a question for you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And if you desire that you need a receipt or anything else, we'll be glad to mail it to you, okay, as soon as possible. But these procedures have to be put in place for the safety of the workers. I mean, they're sending people home that are not non-essential but can do their job at home. That's not the case with my department.
Kaz, let me ask
So
you.
we're trying to do the best we can.
Go ahead, Carl.
Go ahead.
Did you have something to say, Carl?
Go ahead.
How do you guys plan on rolling this information out on what needs to be done and what's going to be different? Are you talking all fines, all taxes, everything?
Well, we're gonna make, after we get hooked up, we're gonna write a press release, and we're gonna put it over to the city, plus through all the media, and we'll explain to them. I think the plan is they're gonna try to implement code enforcement down there too, but I'm not positive. It's just that you, as open as we are and exposed as the workers are, it's not a good deal.
Right.
So, you know, while, I mean, as Carl said, things are getting real serious on the state level.
Yeah.
So, you know, I have to protect the people that work in my office.
Absolutely. So anybody that would come in to pay their taxes,
You could,
or
you
a
could put
fine,
right.
parking tickets, anything
Well, parking tickets are still being run
down there. Okay.
They have their own little protective booth.
Right. Okay. But that right there is where you pay your taxes and stuff.
Yeah, if you want checks only, you can put in that brown box.
Okay.
Or in the lock box. There's a box outside City Hall in the corner
Okay.
of 7th and State.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have to say that, you know, now is the time for us to come together as a community, and Erie always steps forward.
What are they gonna do in the courthouse? Are they gonna collect money there too, or?
You know, they closed the remaining session of the court term was closed down this morning. I think there's one trial that's actually in progress. They haven't determined yet whether they're going to continue that or they're going to stop that. But if somehow they stop it, it would have to be declared a mistrial and start over. So depending on how far they are into the trial, that one may conclude. But all of the other court business has been canceled for the rest of the
How about like the proselytaries and stuff? They're gonna stay open for the time being?
Yeah, they're still open, as you said. I don't want to call them non-essential workers because all the workers that we have in county government are essential, but those that can do their job remotely and don't have to be in the courthouse, they're going to make arrangements for those. They are making arrangements for those people to work from remote sites.
That's why I said we probably won't be on the air next week, cause they'll be working around the clock trying to.
Once this caller calls, we'll touch base on some of the other stuff the county's doing. Go ahead, caller.
We were talking on national news around noon that what they want to do is the military come into these hospitals near them, and if the hospitals get overflowed, they're going to set up tents and military stuff, and as they get better, they can ship them into those tents and leave the hospital for the serious cases.
Right.
We're also looking for empty schools or motels like the one at 18th and SAS that we have that's got sold.
Right.
They're looking for buildings like that where they can convert them into like a hospital, little hospital.
Like that would be something good for St. Vincent's to use, or you have St. Joseph's right across the street there.
There's a lot of, not a lot, but there's some empty parochial schools around.
Right, and we have a lot of
They're
empty schools. Yeah, and there's also different community centers, like Hammett, there's the Russian Nativity Center down there. There,
Those places can be used, but they have to be disinfected.
And they have to have adequate power to be able to handle the.
Yeah, right. It's definitely an unprecedented situation we are in. It's better to be proactive where we can learn from what works and what doesn't work. And that's really all we can do is just sit back and let things unfold while being proactively cautious.
Or not like our president. He knew about this in January.
Yeah, he might, but as much as the bickering goes back and forth, something like this is unprecedented. I mean, there's really, even for him, there's no playbook for what you can and can't do. So actually placing blame, you really, at this point, we got to be beyond that because, whether it's the president or whoever, nobody had a plan for anything like this. We've had no plan for some type of a virus breakout or a germ situation. I don't say we need this, but this is something that we need to address so that in the future, if this ever happens again, we can, we know what to do. We have a manual, kind of like the 9/11 situation.
What I'm saying, John, is we know it's coming. We know it's coming. Let's get ready for it.
Exactly. Be proactive. Exactly.
Well, we may have been a little slow on the draw, but I think it's got everybody's attention now.
I mean, I think at first, the president did kind of downplay what was happening to try to not have hysteria, but hysteria happened anyway. And then the following day, he declares a national emergency. You still there, caller? Yeah, he usually calls it hang.
But I think the military, see, the field hospitals will be the one that will be able to react quickly. But now the question is, since we've cut back the military, there's probably, there's not an overabundance of, when they look at the, National Guard, Reserve,
not only that,
active military, it's not as bad as it was back when I was in there.
Not only that, Kaz, but we don't have respirators, we don't have the equipment needed to fight it.
We were showed one today by the health. They're bringing back. This is how bad it is. They're bringing back retired people, to work again.
Yeah.
And this nice gentleman showed us what a real mask looked like, and they're not there. They're not there for the general public yet.
You know, one thing I think the county should look into doing is sending volunteers. It's possible that if something like that were to seriously break out here, volunteers, like a volunteer hotline or something set up to where you have people that you can mobilize to do different things. But I know the county has done some things. What are you guys, we were talking about this yesterday with, gaming and, the food bank and stuff like that. Touch on some of that stuff, Carl.
Well, as I said earlier in the program, I mean, we're very fortunate in Erie County that we have a Department of Public Health. And,
Okay.
and we can rest assured that, they're on top of this. We may not have all of the resources immediately. We may not have, the things that we need at our disposal or at our fingertips, but we're moving very quickly to make those things happen. And the county executive came to council and asked council last week for emergency funds to be able to put into place additional people, as Kaz mentioned, some people in emergency management that have retired are coming back as consultants to help with this particular situation. And council will vote on that Tuesday night. I applaud my council colleagues for being very proactive in that. And council has also been proactive in asking the Erie County Gaming Revenue Authority to step forward and create a COVID fund to set aside so we have resources to help across the board, because John, this is an illness, and of course the public health is our number one priority at this point, but this is going to have some longer lasting impact on the community, and one thing is this is going to affect the economy.
This is going to cost bankruptcies down the road.
Small business, this is a concern. Restaurant and bars being closed. We talked about it last week in Ohio. They had a huge worldwide event there, a bodybuilding event that brings in 200,000 people in one weekend. In Columbus, and they essentially closed it down, and many of the bars and the restaurants count on that as their main day for the whole year.
Right.
And so this is it's going to have longer term implications than just the health.
Well, you looked at, there were, I think today I read there were 2 or 3 players from one team, NBA,
Yeah.
came down with it. Now you think if they had played the game,
Right.
now probably their whole team, the trainers, people that come in contact with them, some of the fans.
Well, you got to remember, Kaz, it's the ball itself.
Yeah.
It's like a bouncing germ, and they're all passing it to one another.
But I mean, you think of the various combinations that could have happened.
Yeah.
So, a couple weeks ago I joked with people. I wasn't joking. I was just throwing it out there. I said, don't be surprised if they got a big decision, because they were talking then about the Olympics. I said, don't, maybe March Madness ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
And everybody goes,
Yeah, this is going to go until July.
maybe longer. We
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean, this is not, people think this is a 2-week situation.
I mean, when you
No.
look at baseball is gonna be, I think 8 weeks, they
You
said.
gotta remember, Kaz, we are 2 months behind everything else. What everybody else has or what they know.
But Carl brings up a good point. Besides just the health factor, the people that can't go to work now.
Right, then that's why you got this county and ECRA, and is it a small business situational fund, or what kind of fund are you
Yeah,
got?
so, well-
And who's involved in it?
Well, across the board, I mean, AGRA is taking the lead in this, and their board, and they're working with other community partners. I don't know who all the partners are or who they will be, but it will be people like the Erie Community Foundation, the United Way, the local hospitals, large corporations are going to set aside funds to help. One of the things that AGRA is going to do is hopefully set up a small business loan fund to help businesses, small businesses in particular, be able to get through, a period of time of, when revenue may be down, employment numbers are down, they can't get production out, whatever the issues might be.
Right.
Other nonprofits, who essentially give vital services to the community. They haven't, and wouldn't have a plan for, having to purchase extra masks or disinfectant wipes or other types of, disinfectants for their properties. So there'll be funds available to help those organizations and perhaps volunteer fire companies who are on the front line to be able to, have revenue for to purchase disinfectants and things like that.
That's a really good idea, but how, I don't even know if you've got to this point yet, but how do you apply for it?
Well, they haven't got to that point yet because it hasn't been, county council is moving this forward tomorrow night. So,
Right.
I expect my colleagues, I certainly support this, and it has the support of council. I believe it'll pass tomorrow night, but we have to go through the formal process. Then AGRA meets on Thursday. They have to go through their formal process, but they are setting up a framework to handle this. And the key element of it, of course, people will still have to apply, but it will be emergency and immediate funding. It will not be, you have, X amount of days to apply in this window, and then when it closes, the board sits and meets and decides 6 weeks later who might get a grant. This will happen rather, immediate.
Expedite the process.
Right.
All right, hey, good. We're at City Hall today. If you want to give us a call, 870-1284. We're talking about the food bank situation. Food. With the grocery stores basically emptying out as we speak, what type of approach are we taking here for that type of a situation?
Well, this is another element of what the fund would help. First and foremost, the fund is going to help human capital. It's going to help people in need, people who are the most vulnerable. And those people include, and some of these statistics, may be alarming to people because we don't deal with this daily, but, food instability, another term that is going to become common to our, our language and our daily conversations. Roughly about 39,000 families in Erie, the surrounding area, have food instability, and the food bank is working on creating a 2-week food basket for people in the event that we are quarantined or certain people are quarantined and can't get out. They would still have access to food. We're trying to figure out how that would be delivered. We're trying to figure out the exact cost of it. There's been some estimates that could potentially be over $1 million for just that alone. But through donations and of food and other items, that cost could be dramatically brought down. So they're working on things like that. But one of the big issues that the schools system faced in closing the schools, we needed to social distance. We needed to get the kids out of the schools and the teachers and staff out of the schools to have that distance. But particularly in the city of Erie, most of those students rely on school days to get their meals, at least 2 or 3, if not all 3 of their meals every day. And so you have food insecurity for those young people in our community that are most in need. I know that they're working on setting up facilities or drop-off points or pickup points where they can provide those meals. But these are bigger issues that we're gonna have to face as a community, in dealing with this health crisis.
I mean, it just blows my mind, all the moving parts that are moving at the same time. I mean, where are we gonna get the money to do all this? Maybe they should set up, you know how they do the Erie Gives, where they give to a nonprofit? Maybe we need to set up like a massive fund. How much do they make on an Erie Gives?
Well, I think they're gonna do that with this fund that AGRA is setting up. The Community Foundation is gonna, they're gonna do a special, and again, all of this stuff is not finalized. I mean, there's.
Yeah, who's gonna decide who gets the money though? That's what scares me. Who's gonna make the final decision?
Well, it's going to be a team of people that are gonna get together and make those decisions, but, again, you have, first and foremost, you have, those that have food instability, you have, homeless people and homeless shelters, you have elderly care, you have child care facilities. Those are the people on the front lines of, that provide a service to help people in need, where large groups of people congregate. And so those kind of facilities, we're going to have to assist so they can continue to be able to assist the people that need their service.
So the people that we have to assist the people that are assisting with
Exactly.
dollars. I mean, I'll tell you, this is an unprecedented territory that we are entering.
No question about it.
A state of emergency from the county, which they are gonna be probably announcing in a few minutes. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but what exactly does that entail?
Well, I mean, it number one, puts us on alert, that something out of the normal is happening here. And it allows us to use certain discretionary authority. The administrative arm of the government has discretionary authority to be able to move a lot quicker in implementing things rather than the normal course of government procedures. It also puts us in a position to be reimbursed for potential funding that's going to be made available from the state and federal government. And I guess that's the biggest key, is to have that ability, for us to be able to then, seek those funds, those reimbursable funds for this particular crisis. And that's, by the way, where the delay is. I mean, the help is going to be there. I mean, the federal government, I think, has put $8.6 million, I think is the number I heard, I'm sorry, $1 billion aside for federal disaster. But there's a process in applying for that, and there's a time period. So you may have a 2 or 3 month lag time before we're reimbursed, and that's the whole purpose of what county council is wanting to step forward and helping and asking our community partner and lead economic development agency with AGRA to do, and that is fill in that gap between now and when those potential reimbursable funds will get here.
See, I mean, we need to, this is not a 2-week gig. This is not a 2-week situation. This is at least a 2 months, situation. So to just stopgap it for 2 weeks, it's real. I mean, throughout the country, we have to do it in 2-week intervals, but this is a monthly process here.
Well, and I mean, we don't know. I mean, we can't say yes, we can't say no, but we do know that by helping slow down the virus or eliminating the virus, by doing social distancing, by disinfecting, by cleaning. So, as I said earlier, we step up in America when there's an emergency. Just like if there's a flood or a tornado, we go help people rebuild their homes, or we help, clean up a neighborhood. That's what our resources are going to be going towards: cleaning, disinfecting, while being socially distant. We got to be together to, get the work done.
Yeah,
at the same time.
social distance is a good thing sometimes. But we have to bring the curve down, you know, they keep talking about the curve. You know, it's gotten to the point where we just don't know. There's so many unknowns, there's so many moving parts. But somehow we have to, in order to help the businesses and families, we have to collect the money fast and distribute the money fast and cut through all the red tape BS that goes on in order to actually get to the funding to where the people need it in order to refrain us from slipping into a bigger hole with regarding small businesses and families and other things like that. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, as far as the country goes, I mean, Erie, we're just little old Erie. We don't even have anything yet. I mean, at least as that we know of. We haven't had it as of, when did they announce we didn't have any cases?
Well, as of today, there's still no confirmed cases.
Right.
But there may be some people that, you know, have concerns of, you know, their health, or that have traveled in different areas. And so, you know, I think there are some people that are being monitored, but again, we don't have the test kits, or we haven't had the test kits until, you know, until today.
Right.
And we do have them now, I believe, available from UPMC.
All right, well, hey, give us a call, wait, 701-284, go ahead, Cass.
Did they work their bugs out of their system?
I mean, I think they felt pretty confident that they've gotten through, you know, at least most of the bugs.
Yeah, we were told that, they wanted to make sure there was no false positives and.
I saw that, didn't, Cleveland Clinic had tests too.
Somebody just told me now, Cleveland Clinic, is going to stop all non-essential,
Surgeries.
yeah. What they're probably doing is clearing the facilities.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly because they need every available bed.
Well, not only that, their supplies are, you know,
Yeah,
the way you read about, there's not an infinite amount of supplies. And so, I mean, how did we get in this shape?
you don't know when you're in that shape. We would never imagine
I
being
mean, who
in
would have
this
thought
shape.
toilet paper would have been wiped out in Erie?
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that people
Or they
would-
caught that guy with 17,000
Yeah,
Purell bottles in the South, you know?
yeah. I mean, this is an unprecedented 9/11 type of a situation where we don't really know what to do.
Well, we haven't done this for a while, but, you
I
know,
think every week, if we have a show, you'll see what we've done and where we're going from there.
if my mother was still alive, she would not be, overwhelmed.
Yeah,
And to some degree, you know, I saw a little bit of it, but the new generation hasn't really seen this. Katrina was a small blip, so was 911.
well, Katrina just affected that area.
Hey, and 911, we went back in a few weeks.
Yeah.
We had a little discomfort.
Well, I mean, technically, and there again, 9/11 affected New York City in how we travel. It didn't affect, you know, sports being shut down, restaurants,
Yeah.
small businesses. The 9/11 affected the markets for short term, and then they came back.
It's like I heard a good thing yesterday, but somebody said, well, shut down the transit because they're bad. And this one national reporter goes, if you do that, how do the medical personnel, if you live where my daughter does in Chicago, you don't ride your car to work.
Yeah, you have that people don't own cars in big cities.
Well, they can't, there's no parking.
There's nowhere to
or
park.
you can't afford it.
Yeah.
One of the two, I mean,
Pay $1 million of parking space in New York.
yeah, so I mean, you know, the gentleman said, hey, you know, you can't.
Right. You know, people are basing this, you know, we don't care attitude based on Erie, you know, but Erie is not even nothing.
Well, here, somebody said to me, you know, well, Erie's not, you know, we don't have none of these international flights. I said, but the flights we do have go into major hubs.
Yeah,
especially
Chicago.
O'Hare.
We had Chicago. Now we have.
You have O'Hare, which is a major hub, and
Yeah, that's one of the major.
to
hubs.
think that, well, like this, I don't think anybody's saying it's here yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was.
So if we have the flight to O'Hare, and just over this weekend, you saw the pictures of everybody in the airport in O'Hare.
Yeah.
O'Hare that came in You couldn't get a test, they couldn't get through, they wouldn't let them out. It was like complete, how are we not ready for something like that?
Well, we're not ready because America has a habit of, Carl's a historian like I am, and you go back to World War II, we weren't ready. We weren't ready in World War I.
Yeah, but Kaz, we knew a virus was going around. We know. I mean,
Well, we're prognosticators in America. We
but
wait.
we know people that are coming in from the other countries
Yeah,
are coming home.
When we get our back to the wall, John, that's when we do our best. But
I mean, I agree. I mean, we all will rise up. I know we will.
Well, you
we
know,
do it all the time.
I may be slow on the draw sometimes myself, but, 3 weeks ago, my daughter, Autumn, who's living in Harrisburg, said this is coming. Why is nobody preparing for it?
And my son told me, he gave my wife strict orders, because he's just northeast of you, and he said, he ordered my wife not to come.
Yeah, I mean, my kids used to listen to me, now I listen to them. So
Yeah.
Well, because,
when they speak, I listen, so.
It's out, my son's out east, and your daughter, that's just a few miles east, to think that, there's this artificial buffer.
Right.
Would
I mean,
be,
you touched on something earlier, the homeless people. Let's say if the homeless, somebody gets it in the homeless community. Let's say over at the park somewhere, somebody gets it. Then it starts spreading among the homeless community.
Mm-hmm.
None of them have money or anything for medicine. So what are they going to do? They're going to head to the hospital. And then people that have the virus, that's not counting the regular people that might have hurt themselves or been sick from other regular everyday sicknesses. Then you have not only those people are practically loading up the system on top of other people. And then if you have the homeless people, they're all over in every city in America, they're all over downtowns everywhere, touching things, breathing on each other. It could get really bad.
yeah.
Well, that's why part of the plan has to be the front lines, helping the homeless centers, helping the elderly centers, helping the child care centers. These are the groups, these are the people who are vulnerable.
Yeah.
And the people that need help. And,
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly.
part of it is, we've got to make these, tests available for free.
You have these tests they have to get these tests. You have, like, homeless shelters. Those places need tests immediately. Hospitals need, daycares, schools. Those are the places that need it, where people meet in masses. That's where they need them first. Not you and I at Walmart. They're doing them at Walmart. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I just got one little comment here about all this. What about these city buses? I'd be more concerned with
Absolutely.
is that I would a little mom and pop bar and restaurant.
Don't be surprised if those shut down.
What's that?
Buses.
Well, those are the kind of things that we need to focus on, ensuring that they have been disinfected, and that the personnel and resources are given to make sure that they're clean. They can be cleaned.
But
and
the
they have
same thing
personnel
could
to
be
do
done
that.
with a little mom and pop bar and restaurant.
Yeah. And the people that are on those buses, where are they going to work? They don't have money they have no way to get to work. So it's a whole economical disaster.
So I guys point out my daughter in Chicago, where the majority of people, even healthcare professionals who make a decent wage, cannot drive into downtown Chicago
Yeah.
because they would spend their whole salary parking.
Yeah, that's a good point, Carl. Just in Erie alone, the buses, you have a lot of handicapped and elderly folks that ride those buses.
And you got people to go to work on them.
Say they get out of the Schmidt Towers, hop on a bus, go take a ride, come back home, they got it, and then next thing you know, boom, it's in the Schmidt Towers.
And the people that clean the hotels, they ride those buses.
Yeah.
So now you got the two-edged sword. They're not there to clean.
This is unprecedented. We don't mean to be alarmists, but Erie, and we're a little, but in other cities, it's scary here, but imagine where there's 1 million, 2 million, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Pittsburgh's got 1 million, Philly's got a couple mil.
Well, the people who are most vulnerable are those over the age of 50.
Yeah,
And
that's
people
us.
smoke.
That's
So
some of us.
Well, now
So-
you just got one.
So that's all three of us.
I'm toast.
Plus one of us.
I'm toast.
But, you know, it's a respiratory, you know,
You still
first
there,
and
caller?
foremost, it's a respiratory
Is he still there?
situation.
Yeah, no.
But, no, I don't think people need to be afraid, but I think they need to be
no,
very aware.
You
You
cannot.
need to be aware, you need to plan, you need
Yeah.
to be proactive, you need to be
Correct.
patient.
And we all gotta do our little part. We
We all
And
have to
it's
step
a.
up
I
and do
hated
our
it.
gotta wipe our nose. Don't
I
talk
hated
to
it this
people.
morning or this weekend. There was no ball games on. You know, I was gonna go to the movies, and then people were like, "Well,
You know,
I don't know."
there was a good article, John, just now I read before I came here.
5 minutes.
I was on my lunch break and I read it, and it was a letter to the college athletes. And he said, "While I know you're disappointed, you won't be lifting the silverware up."
Yeah.
He said, "Now's the time for you to take a bigger leadership role." And he pointed out what J.J. Watt did during this big hurricane.
In Houston, yeah.
He raised $200,000. He thought that's what he was doing. He raised 4.1
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
million. And he's going, you know, this is a great lesson in life. My generation wasn't any better or any worse. We had the draft, we had Vietnam, we had turmoil socially with presidents getting shot and all that. My mother saw more than I did. I think every generation gets a wake-up call.
Yeah. We need plans in different areas. We need a medical plan. We need a
And
food
this proves-
outsourcing plan.
And if this proves anything like Katrina, we are not prepared.
We need a testing plan. We need a small business retention plan. We need people to work on a plan to come together and actually have a plan in place with the money raised without the red tape that you have to
Well,
go
here's
through
a,
to
here's
get
a
the
little
funding
thing I
out.
thought of. We're gonna be, right now, we have no problem. But we're gonna be getting close to the deadline where,
People rush in at the last minute.
well, we have to start affixing a penalty.
Yeah,
I think when it gets to that point, I'm gonna check whether we should maybe reconsider that, if we can legally, and not put people at risk of doing things that they shouldn't be doing by trying to rush down here.
can people pay online?
They can, but it's not,
The older people
It's-
don't really, they're not
it's
into
not
that.
as seamless as it could be yet.
Right,
But, and then I've had people say, well, if you pay with your credit cards, well, we don't have control over that.
yeah.
But we do have control over the. Oop. Can you
So-
take over, man?
Yeah, we got it. So it's just getting to the point where we need to just not even locally, but nationally, every component of that, the medical, the business, the, food, they all need their own separate plan to come together with the county, with council and the mayor and county executive with a plan, and then you need to, I mean, we can't even like let everybody know we're having a recycling change. It
Well,
sent
this-
people
maybe
into
the-
chaos.
maybe-
There was longer, we had blue bin hysteria
Maybe
here
if
2
one thing
months
comes
ago.
good out of this, and, you know, I've seen great things happen with the COG
Yeah,
on small items.
Yeah.
But we've never been,
I mean, a cog would be a good way to go
I
through
just heard
stuff.
today our fire chief was talking with Mill Creek,
Yeah,
because they found out there was a whole department in Marion, PA,
I mean, honestly,
that's wiped out. They have no firemen.
the cog would be better than
So I mean, what,
county.
you know, are we gonna have to cover Mill Creek? Is Mill Creek gonna have to cover us? Do
Yeah.
we cover Summit? These are things that, John, you know, where the COG was on a small scale was doing this. Maybe we'll finally get rid of the politics, the infighting, the elephants and donkeys will get together, the suburbs and the cities and the rural areas
Yeah,
will finally wake up and say, you know what?
I mean, we gotta wake
Something
up.
like this, we're all in it together.
You know what, hopefully, not one of us gets it, nobody in Erie gets it, nobody dies from it, we're just running at our mouths for nothing.
But that'd be the best thing.
That
but-
would be a best case scenario, but you gotta remember, we're 2 months behind. You know, each week, I doubt we're gonna be here, to be honest with you.
But now we'll test it, as I often read about history, this is where people step forward that
Yeah,
do the right thing. They,
Yeah.
you know,
Usually when the
they do what
United,
they have to do.
when our backs are against the wall, we do start working together. And that's what we need to do, especially our local governments, the state and the local and the city. You guys gotta work together. There needs to be a
Carl
plan.
and I, Carl and I have known each other a long time. We work together, but I wish I could say it works for everybody, but
Well, have to,
it's gonna have to now.
listen, don't
By
get
the
me
way,
started.
they're beginning to, close down the local, gyms.
That-
What?
Are
We
gonna-
talked, we
are
were,
gonna start being closed down along with the bars and restaurants.
so
What
no
is
more,
the gym?
no more Planet Fitness, Kaz.
Oh, really?
Yeah, gyms.
There
They
goes
probably
your workout.
can't, I don't think they can keep themselves, can you imagine how clean it would have to be now?
Oh, I mean, it's.
I mean, honestly, actually, the gyms are some of the cleanest places around.
But think of the labor they have to do now.
Intense labor to
Yeah, I mean,
keep them clean.
people, if you actually, you have people at where I go, believe it or not, I go sometimes. They will actually wipe the equipment down after every
Well, you're
time.
supposed to wipe it yourself.
Yeah, but still, it's a germ factory, just like,
Well,
those are the type of things that we have to do. We're in unprecedented times. So it's gonna cause for unprecedented teamwork and effort and planning. You have to have all three of those by our government officials, not just here, but in the United States as a whole, local, state, and federal. Federal and state, they're each doing their own thing, and that's where you get into troubles. There has to be uniform, whether it's economic right to work issues,
Yeah.
or what bars and taverns are open here and not there in Ohio or New York. That's what needs to take place. So you guys in government, Carl, you guys, you know what you guys need to do. I'm not telling you guys something you don't already know, but, well, we are just about out of time. I want to thank you guys for coming in. Carl,
Wish I
thanks
could
for
tell you if
calling.
we're gonna be on the air, but.
Yeah, next week to try to tune in at 2:00, and we'll let you know at that point. I mean, there's no way that we're gonna know between now and then, and hopefully we'll have some, better news and better information for you today. But teamwork. Have a good day, everybody. Go ahead, Mike. Hit the music.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for coming.
You have been watching Taxpayers Hotline, recorded live from the fabulous city of Erie, Pennsylvania.